Hey team, I'm so excited that we have Brenda Carlton with us. And of course, we've had her here in Milton before, and she's going to come back. But this is so cool to have her on our team call. So she's anyway. I'm so excited that you're here, Brenda. So the floor is yours. We'd like to hear your story. And I have some notes here so I can ask you some questions on packaging your story and your follow up. And yeah, so I've got some things on the agenda as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Miss Linda, for having me. Oh my goodness, this is such an honor to get to speak, with y'all and just talk and help you however I can. Okay, I'm going to start with going way, way, way back, if that's okay. I like to hear why are you here? And so that's
Yeah,
where
that's
I
what we would
like to
like to hear.
start, where how did I get here?
Mhm.
And so I'm going to take you back to almost 24 years ago. And I was working. I am married to a school teacher. And so we have a dream and a goal in place to retire debt free. So we were working, working, working. And I struggled with my health. And so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Miss Linda, we do not make medical claims. We don't profess to treat, cure, or diagnose anything, but I'm passionate about your story because it was a story that changed my life and led me here. I heard a story about a lady that had not had a migraine in 9 months and had lost 60 pounds. And that got my attention because for 27 years I had battled migraines. I would have eaten dirt. I had been to every doctor, many trips to the emergency room. My life revolved around the next migraine. I'd given myself shots for 5 years. I worked in a chemical plant in Deer Park, which is in Houston. And so my buddies would come in and pick me up out of my chair, put me in the truck, and drive me down the freeway to the local hospital where they would give me a shot. They would watch me for 20 minutes to make sure I didn't have a heart attack so I could go back to work. And so
Mhm.
that was my life. And there was a period about 6 months where I had a migraine every weekend. And so I would blow through 4 Imitrex injections. Well, eventually Imitrex no longer worked, and I had moved on to something called Maxol. That's where I was. And hearing that story drew me in because, like I said, I would have eaten dirt. And so I thought, oh man, if I can go 2 months without a migraine, I'm all over this stuff.
Wow.
And so I started on 2 products and I never looked back. And what that did, it drew me in because I became intrigued about why my body had responded to supplements when no doctor could help me. And so I began to be front row Annie. I was on every training. Larry drove me, into Houston, Dallas, Austin, wherever the trainings were for me to learn. It's just what it was. I didn't go looking for a business. I was after the product. So that's why they call me the product queen. I love products. So that's where I started. Y'all, I will celebrate. We celebrate every year, May 15th. May 15th will mark 24 years since I've had a migraine. And so I'm passionate
Wow.
about health
Wow.
and supplements. And so I've learned a lot. And so all I do is share that. Okay, so let's fast forward. So here we are. And y'all, I feel like I grew up in this industry. I love this industry. You're going to hear me say this over and over. It is an industry of compression, which means time compression. You can do in 2 years here what takes most people in corporate America 20 plus years to accomplish. And I like to say that because we proved it. My husband is short of a dissertation, having his PhD. He was he was in the industrial technology. He taught custom furniture making and educator in the same school for 31 years. And the most he ever made his last year of teaching was $59,000.
Wow.
Me, my education comes from the University of Experience. I don't have that piece of paper. And so, whenever this industry found me, I was a manager of a local telephone company with an accounting background. That's what I did. And so shortly into this, I began to earn $500 a month and walked away from my job after 6 months. And so now I'm stirred and I'm really wanting to learn and do more. Fast forward 6 years, we began to earn some serious money. And the next 6 years, we earned over $1 million in this industry. That is why I love this industry. And I share that only because people like Brenda and Larry would have never made that kind of money in corporate America. And all we did was follow the system. And so, starting on products, I lost 2 dress sizes in 3 weeks, never had a migraine. My story went across the United States. And the next thing I knew, I'm doing three-way phone calls right and left. I'm training, I'm learning. I begin to be coachable, teachable, trainable. Just tell me what to do. And so that is number one. You have to be coachable, you have to be teachable. All right, now let's fast forward. 6 years ago, the company flattened the comp plan and we all lost 98% of our income. So some of you might not know what that looks like, but you just imagine you've got all these ultimates on your team. They're friends, they're family, they're people you love, and all of a sudden one day you lose all of it. And every ultimate that you have on your team rolls frontline to the company and you never get paid anymore off of them. Mm. So everything we built, and this is really key for some of you that don't know what a residual income is and don't know what building deep. I learned a long time ago that I would drive my legs to China. I'm not a fast recruiter, I'm a builder. I don't want to sell vitamins out of the trunk of my car, and you will not catch me slinging drops. I want to get you into the system so that I can show you what's in it for you. And that is how I build. And so I know that there's a way that we do at Partner Co. where, you know, everybody orders a 30 pack and you sell those 30 pack and you get going that way. But I didn't do it that way because of where I come from and my belief. I'm here to help people with what they want. It's not about me. It's about what you want. So that happened to us about 6 years ago. We all lost 98% of our income. I still have, y'all listen to this, I still have enough of a foundation of 20 percenters, 25 percenters, and 30 percenters to where we still are not. I never touch it. I don't look at it. I don't talk about it. We still make $800 to $1,000 a month from what I built 23 years ago.
Wow.
That's called residual income.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And so people will use products, and that is why we have to get people on subscriptions. We have to talk about products. We have to let them know what else is beyond the drops. Okay, so we lost the company pretty much. Life changed for us. Larry and I were okay. Many of our friends lost their families, their homes, their cars, lost their properties. I mean, it was devastating. Larry and I were okay. We learned something. Never spend more than you make. We never did that. So in between the time that we lost our original company and Partner Co. found us, 5 different companies came our way. And, you know, I loved my friends and I wanted to help support them. You know how you do. Yeah, I'll buy your stuff. But nothing ever meant, you know, what that first company did. And so I really wasn't interested. It's kind of like, you know, you're dating, you don't want to marry him, you know, that. So we moved from Texas to Colorado Springs 3 years ago, December. And our daughter is struggling with some pretty major menopause symptoms. I don't understand what it is. I don't recognize it at first. But she was struggling with major brain fog, extreme confusion, sudden rapid weight gain. And she said, Mom, I just want to sleep my life away. I'll sleep all night and I just want to sleep all day too. But as a homeschool mom and a student herself in a worship academy, she's my little worshiper, that was not possible. Knowing something was wrong with her body, she made an appointment with a hormone specialist only to hear that her labs were normal and all the doctor could offer her was birth control. Well, y'all, she turned 51 years old last June. That was not an option. She reached out to her friend and a prayer partner. The girls would drop the kids off at homeschool co-op and they would pray in the parking lot. So that's how Carrie knew Amy. Well, it turns out that Amy is a homeopathic educator. So Carrie left the doctor's office that day and called Amy and said, "What have you got for me that's natural?" And Amy got her started on the drops. And y'all, in 5 days, her life began to change. The cloud lifted. She said, "Mom, I know exactly where I was standing. All of a sudden, I could think." Y'all, I was so concerned about her. When she left our house, I was concerned she would find her way home.
My
It
gosh.
was really bad. I'm not
Right.
kidding.
Wow.
And so she said, "Mom, the cloud is lifted." All of a sudden, the lights came on. I can think. It was as if you'd cleaned her brain with Windex.
Mm.
By the end of the third week, she had lost a jean size, and my little joy bomb began to come back to life. And I watched this amazing transformation of my girl. And you know, nobody knows your kids better than you do.
Mhm.
And so that was emotional. It was very intimate. It was a very personal thing for us because she was in such a dark, deep place.
Very
It was
place.
frightening.
Mm.
And then came the day she said, "Mom, will you go to this meeting with me? My friend Amy's going to be talking about the homeopathic aspect of how these drops affect our bodies, and I don't want to go by myself. Besides, it's up north by you. I'll come by and pick you up." Well, y'all, that day she walked in, she pulled her jacket down. She goes, "Look, Mom, I can tuck my shirt in. Look at my arms." 3 weeks, y'all. I mean, 3 weeks this had happened. And I'm thinking,
Mm.
"Oh my gosh, what is this stuff you got?" So I went. I promise I did not roll my eyes or cross my arms. I walked in. I was a little guarded, Linda. I was a little guarded because I knew what a meeting was. And I was
Mhm.
not interested. Here's why I wasn't interested. God had moved me into position where I had applied, been received, and was going to Bible college and had paid my tuition. And so I wasn't interested in doing anything else. I wasn't looking for anything else, but I went to support my girl. And when I got there, little did I know what all these drops do. And so, learning that about 35 minutes later, when I heard Dr. Crystal say, "and they help with digestive healing," I was like, "Ooh, ooh, that's me." Because, you know, we're all dialed into radio station WIIFM. What's in it for me? And so that was me. That got me. I was not looking for hormone. I was not looking for, I thought I was doing okay with the weight loss. Little did I know what would happen. So I came home. I walked in this office, and when I walked through the door, Larry turned around and said, "What now?" Because we had been hit with everything everybody had found, and we were just like, "No more." But we were going to try the products. And so that's kind of where we started. I placed a 4-pack. I ended up going and meeting with Tammy. She shared 6 products with me. I was excited about that. I guess y'all know I don't have a poker face, and she could see I was kind of excited about what that stuff was. And it tasted good too. And in a minute, she said, "Go put some lipstick on. We're going to take a picture." And I said, "For what?" And she said, "We're going to make a post." And I said, "Oh, no, 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 no. I do not do social media. I'm a stalker. I just look at people." And she started laughing. We took a picture. She loaded these things called boards on my phone. She taught me how to copy, paste, and send. We did a little role playing a couple of times, and she sent me on my way. And I got home, and my phone was blowing up. 9 people had hit that post and wanted drops. Within 30 minutes, 15 people. I ended up selling 3 boxes of drops that I didn't have yet. And Larry looked at me and said, "Looks like you need to order some more drops." And I placed a 30-pack because I understood what was going on. And so that's kind of how we got started here. And the thing jumped out from under me before I even knew it. I'm so excited to be here. I had no idea that this was going to lead me into the community, which I absolutely love, y'all. None of you are on my team. It doesn't matter. I'm Team Partner Co. I don't care. And so I just want to help the world feel better. So I told my daughter's story for about 10 months. And then somebody said one day, "Miss Linda, well, what happened for you, Brenda? And I was like, oh, I do have a story. In just about 3 weeks, I had lost 10 pounds of jean size. I've never been this size in my life. I'm fixing to be 71 years old, and I feel better than I did in my 20s. And I've never weighed this in my life. I mean, I'm sure at a baby I was probably not, but
Right.
feel like I do. Sleep, energy, focus, all the things, my hair, skin, nails. I mean, everything has changed. And so that's why I'm a supplement junkie. And I love this company.
I love it. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, and we do think things a little bit different. People ask questions, and so
Yep,
we always open it up for questions. But
love it.
anyway, here you do a lot of training, and just so appreciative of all your training. One of the things that, if you would talk to us a little bit about packaging your story, that would be so great.
Absolutely. Yes, let's go there. Okay.
Okay.
I just told you why I'm so passionate about
And
your
tell me
story.
why you came up with this. Where did you come up with packaging your story? How did you
We got
create this?
we got taught that. So I'm going to take you back to my previous company.
Mhm.
The founder of the company, his name was Charlie Regas. He was a giant of a man. I'm going to tell y'all about him for just a minute because this is important. Charlie said, I will have the best trained distributors in the industry and they will be the most professional. So when Todd's asking me, why do you look like you do? That got drilled into me. People buy you before they buy your products. So that's that. But Charlie was a giant of a man. His presence entering a room commanded respect. He was what we call John Wayne, Billy Graham, and Ronald Reagan all rolled into one. He was a giant of a man and he had a legacy. Matter of fact, when I said yes to Partner Co. and Tammy, I'm in Tammy and Julie's organization. When Tammy found out where I came from, she said, we know where you came from. We're so sorry that happened. But the first thing she did was put me on the phone with Brent Palmer. And guess what Brent Palmer said? Brenda, I knew Charlie. I knew his products. I knew his legacy and I knew his vision. And then my eyes started leaking because it touched my heart that somebody knew where I came from and the legacy that Charlie had founded. And so it was an honor to carry the torch of one man's vision for help, hope, and a future. And that's who we were. And so in that, they brought multiple people in. Norman Schwarzkopf, both of the Bushes, Andy Andrews, John Maxwell, all these amazing people. Jim Rohn's ghostwriter was our mentor.
Oh my gosh.
His name is Ron Reynolds. He's still alive.
Wow.
And he was the vice president of distributor development. And so within the company, there was a standard of excellence set, and we all met that. And I love the filter system in this industry. You either grow or you go. So to answer your question, we were taught people skills. We were taught that you need to package your story. It will be the most important one you will ever tell. And the reason is because people only remember 7% of what you say. You need to make your nuggets count. And so we had 4 bullet points, and they are where you were in life, not you were driving down a country road, listen to, neon lights. What you saw, what you see. Oh, you saw a Facebook post. What you did, you got started on the drops, and where you're going. Where you're going includes what's happening for you since you got started on the drops. All the things that my daughter, was dealing with. Her story, I packaged her story when I asked her, tell me what happened. Just let's walk through this. because it's the most important thing that you will do. It is foundational in your business. Get your story packaged. I help people package their story across this company almost every week. I'm helping somebody because it's that important. It's the most important story you'll tell. So here we go. You're going to hear where you were, what you saw, what you did, and where you're going in my daughter's story. She was struggling with major brain fog, extreme confusion, sudden rapid weight gain, and she wanted to sleep her life away. She went to the doctor only to hear that her labs were normal and the doctor wanted to start her on birth control. Okay, that's where she was. What she did, she reached out to her friend, or you could say I saw a post, and she contacted her friend. And her friends told her about the drops. So where she was, what she saw, what she did, she got started on the drops. Where she's going, you can be a work in progress in that. But there's a whole lot rolled up into that. It's going to encompass where you are and what's going on. Like in 5 days, the cloud lifted. She could think. Within 3 weeks, she lost a jean size. She was on track to get to a size 6. That's where she was going. So that's your goal in that. And you can certainly say, I'm a work in progress, or I've not met my goal yet, but I'm a work in progress. That is why your story is so important. We don't need to know all the fluff. And just like you hear me say on the IPA call, I don't need to know what restaurant you were in. I don't need to know whether your suit matched your toenail polish or your fingernail polish. We don't need to know what you were eating for lunch that day. What did you do? And so that's what we do. And that's why your story is so important. Now, your story, each one of those components should be no more than 30 seconds. You should be able to tell your story in 2 to 3 minutes if you intend to breathe somewhere in there. And so here's the beautiful part of that. Learn to package your story. We don't need to know the fluff. We have to cut the fluff. We have to be straightforward. Say what you need to say.
Bullshit, in other words.
You want to mute? And then you can, now, when I tell my story, I have a question. My question is, what part of that interests you? Now, once they answer, and here's a little nugget for y'all, let them answer. Don't talk. Wait for them to answer. Because if you jump the gun, we say in this world, the first one that talks loses. You'll sabotage where you're going. Let them answer it. Then you'll know exactly how to position partner code, the drops, whatever you're trying to get to them. That help?
A lot. Yes.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions, you go ahead and please just raise your hand. Okay. All right. So,
okay, we got Jennifer.
Hi, yes, you said you started taking something for the migraines. What was it? What were the products you took?
Okay, I'm not gonna promote another company. That was 24 years ago. But here's what I will tell you. I learned ingredients. And so Jennifer, I was really excited when I saw the ingredients on Blue Frog.
Really? The ingredients are in Blue Frog.
There's choline, taurine, and there's some other ingredients in there that promote focus. And Blue Frog, I know those ingredients from training from years ago, and Blue Frog will help people that are ADD and ADHD. Niacin, choline, taurine, those kind of things, those are all focus. That's brain food. B6, B12. Okay. And then in another product that I took 2 products. It doesn't matter what they are. Ingredients. You got to know the ingredients and the formulation. And our products, y'all, they are pristine. I'm telling you. But the ingredient that really helped me was 5-HTP. So we can look for a product that has 5-HTP in it. 5-HTP regulates the serotonin level, which is a key chemical in the brain. And if that drops, that's when a migraine can set in. So the ingredients in Blue Frog will help. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that ingredient in any other of our products?
I have not looked, but I'm
Okay.
going to.
Okay.
I will
All
find
right.
out.
Kat?
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. My question is, what do you see as the biggest barrier that you experienced to bring people in as clients or brand partners?
Two things come to my mind: belief in what you've got and the confidence to talk about it. And y'all, I had to learn. Who you see today is not who I was 23 years ago. I was a very broken girl. I was full of condemnation, shame, guilt. I did not know who I was. It was hard for me to take the first step, you know, the one out my front door.
Mm.
And I would crater. Had a lot of family issues, you know, with my mom and dad. It was just, that was my life. And it wrecked me in this business. So it took me years to grow. It took me years, like I said, 6 years. It took me 6 years to grow and learn. You don't have to be there, because not many people were where I was, but I wanted it so bad. And I went to conferences, and that's where I learned, and I grew personally. And so that was my number one thing, is I had to grow up. I had to grow personally. I've never been in this industry before. I didn't know what leadership looked like. I didn't know anything about people skills. I was terrified of people. I love people, but I was terrified. So, but when I got the results, and so number one, you've got to package your story. Number two, you've got to get results on these products. If you don't have results, it is likely you're going to be able to talk about what you have found, because you're not going to have the confidence and the belief in what you have. See, I don't let anybody tell me these products don't work. Don't tell me these products don't work. Remember my baby girl? No, nobody will tell me these products don't work.
Yourself.
And that is the resolute mindset. It's not a flippant, arrogant attitude. It is a mindset of knowing that you know what you've got your hands on. I hope that answered your question. So belief and confidence. And confidence comes, you know, we get knowledge. Knowledge gives us confidence, and confidence gives us power. You know that, girl. I know where you came from. That's how it works. Knowledge.
Yeah. Okay, you talked about going to functions. So all the way through network marketing, all the many years you've been in network marketing, there's always been functions for you to attend?
Absolutely. And I did not miss a one. Larry, poor thing, would drive me, like I said, Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, wherever we had to drive. And then we'd have to come home and go to work the next day. In the beginning, that's how it was. But when there is, and we lived in Texas, so we drove, and, you know, our company was a Texas-based company, although we were all over the United States, but most of what we attended was in the Texas area. We just drove. We went to everything. I never missed a regional event. I never missed a conference like PXP or these Connect events. I didn't miss them. I attended every one. And then as I got going and I learned about these products, y'all, let me tell you, I was in an event one night, just like a normal drop talk, just like what we're fixing to do, you know, on the 17th over here in Castle Rock, if y'all don't know about that. And a coach walked through the aisle and he dropped a CD in my lap. I will never forget that. I took that CD home, stuck it in my CD player, and I learned the products. I learned to talk about the products just like he did. And I played it over and over and over. That is how I learned. And guess what? The first time somebody heard me talk that, they pulled me up front and said, say what you just said. And I began to talk about, guess what it was? It was the performance products. And guess what ended up happening? Larry and I had 22 gyms on our team.
Wow.
So I learned a lot about our bodies. I learned a lot about performance. I learned a lot about how our bodies work. And so that right there was training ground for me.
Right.
And so learn the products. I'm not saying you have to be Dr. Strand or Dr. Plant or Brenda. Learn enough of the products to where you can talk a little bit about them. You do not have to know a lot. And it would behoove you if you connect yourself with a leader or somebody that knows that can talk about it. You don't have to know it, but you need to know who your
Who
sources
does?
are.
Very good. Very good.
But conferences are not an option. That is where we learn. And just like when I said at our boot camp in Destin, these Connect events and PXP, that's where we get our PhD in Partner Co.
Yes, yes. Okay, yeah. Now I know you gave us the follow-up record. Did you also, didn't you give us the health assessment? Was that yours?
No, that is one that Partner Co came up with.
Okay, but on your follow-up record, which everybody on our team, because I know that I've passed out your follow-up record to everybody. It's so valuable. Now tell me something. It is, for those of you that don't remember it, she asks a whole bunch of questions. She wants to know outcomes. Talk about this a little bit, and how often do you interact with customers, and do you interact with brand partners with this?
I love that question. Let me grab my notebook. Okay. Notebooks. I'm old school. Notebooks. Okay. I'm glad you asked this question because this is what I have spent time. I opened my mouth on one of the calls and said, hey, call me, reach out to me, and I'll walk you through how to use this. And so this is important because this is how I build relationships. This is why a lot of people that were in my previous business 23 years ago are still here, because I built a relationship. And when you build a relationship, you build trust, and it builds value in that relationship. So I love my notebook. Here it is in a notebook. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through there, Miss Linda. I'm going to take a little bit of time, and I hope all of you have your follow-up sheet. There's a reason I ask these questions. It tells me a lot. You don't have to know everything that I've learned. You can just gather the information. And all of you on this call, if you don't have my number, you get with Miss Linda and reach out to me. I will talk to you. I will answer questions. If something you gather some information that you don't understand what that means or what to do with it, you're going to reach out to me and let's answer that question so you can move on. So here's what we do. First of all, I establish, and whether it's now remember, I don't have customers. They're all brand partners.
Brand partners, okay.
And something else you need to know about this industry is a whole lot of people taking a little bit of product with a few business builders sprinkled in. Not everybody wants to build a business.
Say that again.
It's a whole lot of people taking a little bit of product with a few business builders sprinkled in.
Thank you.
You will know who your business builders are. We call them worker bees in the Brent Palmer world. And all the product users are bonuses. Y'all, bonuses add up. Don't you all want those bonuses on a Saturday morning to be $13,334? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Bonuses. It's a lot of bonuses. A lot of people using product.
Mhm.
That's what this is. Not everybody wants to do what we want. Not everybody has caught the vision yet. But let me tell you why I put people in as a brand partner, so that I can take them to their back office and show them what's available for them and what little it took to get them there, and show them the tree that's being built under them. That's what I do. Guess what? I turn a customer that just wanted a discount. I show them how to build to ultimate, what's in it for them, what's in it for them. I always show them what's in it for them. And then all of a sudden, light bulb comes on and they go, wait a minute. And then they look back at how easy it was for them to get there. And all we do is educate and teach. Okay, so the first thing that I do, whether they're a brand partner or a customer to you, I have to ask some questions. First of all, we're looking at drops. That's our gateway product. We're just going to use that right now. It could be MOA, it could be Renew, it could be whatever you're doing. But let's just use the drops for simplicity right now. So somebody calls you, they saw a post, they want to get started on the drops. What I do is call me when you get your drops, because we're going to open them together. Oh, okay. And so when we do that, I tell them how I want them to take the drops. I don't trust people to read the booklet. There's something goofy in there that says take 15 drops. And a guy called me a week and a half in and said, this bad boy is almost empty. I've done 15 drops 3 times a day. It's in the booklet.
Oh my gosh.
I don't trust people to their own demises. Some people have put them in water and drank them. Like, who told you to do that? Anyway, okay. Damage control. So I asked 2 questions. What do you want from the drops? What are you expecting to happen? Well, I want to lose some weight. Okay, how much? And by when? So we identify that and I write it down. Why do you want that? That's my next question. And I wait for an answer. What is that going to do for you when you lose 20 pounds or 50 pounds or 100 pounds? What's that going to do for you? Sometimes it gets emotional.
Yeah.
You have to wait for people to answer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, do they know why they're doing it? And some of you have heard me say, in our previous company, Larry and I worked booths for 7 years. I got a lot of people skills in booths. And so some days we sampled as high as 100 people in a 4-hour period. That'll teach you to get good at asking the right questions, because they're moving on. And so there were several times I remembered asking a person, because we did health and wellness expos, which meant that this company had a contract with the HR department of the county, city, and the state in Austin. And so they would do their screenings, and the employees got a half a day off. They had to go do their screenings.
Wow.
And they would get the results and they would run to my table and say, my blood pressure is high. I need to lose 50 pounds. Can you help me?
Wow.
So that was a lot of it.
There it
So
goes.
I got to
Blood
where I
pressure's
had to
high. You need to lose 20 pounds.
Well, but she said that she sent it to the
Oh,
place inspector.
just a minute.
She gave the drops.
Can we, there you go.
So what I would learn to ask once they said what they wanted on a scale from 1 to 10, how serious are you about reaching that goal? I learned to say that because I had a lot of people that would buy the product and then I would never hear from them again. Have y'all ever had people that ghosted you after you sold them drops? Did you ever find out why they wanted to take the drops? Did you ever find out what they were expecting to happen? Did you ever find out what their goal was and why they were buying drops at either $160 or $176, whatever? And then you never hear from them again? No, I'm so serious about this, y'all. And so I remember a couple of times a girl she was just real nonchalant. And she said, oh, I'm about a 5. I took my products back. It was a bundle of products, y'all. It was probably $300 worth of products. I took the products back out of her hand. And I just said, you know what? Call me back when you're about an 8. You're not ready. Now, my inside voice wanted to say, you're not going to diss my product. And I'm not going to waste your time, and you're not going to waste mine. Because, see, I'm serious about what I do.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm there. That's me. You don't have to be there. But I'm telling you, that saved me so much grief in worrying about, what did I do? Did I say the wrong thing? Did I not do, the right thing? You just erase all that. So, number 1, what do you want? What's that going to do for you? Why do you want that? And on a scale from 1 to 10, how serious are you about doing that?
That's awesome.
Give me 90 days. Because the first thing I tell them after that is it's a scientific fact. It takes 90 days for things to change at the cellular level. That Brenda didn't make that up. That's a scientific fact. That's why your doctor says, we'll see you in 3 months. Right, Miss Linda? We'll see you in 3 months, because it takes 3 months. That's 90 days. But we know what can happen between 90 and 120 days, which is why that 4-pack is so popular. Okay. That being said, that's the first thing I do. The next thing I do, and Kat, we're in a military town here, sister. You know how rigid they are. And so I'm working with a lot of military here, and it's so fun. I love it. They want accountability. So I asked that next question, what's the best time to be reached? And in that question right there, I'm going to find out, how often do you want me to follow up? Because, see, I come with these drops.
There you go.
You're going to quit on me before I quit on you. I tell them that. We're going to do this together, because if you've spent this money, we're going to get results. Now, are you with me? So I nail all that down in the beginning, because I'm not playing around. Okay. So one of my girls says, okay, I want to be followed up on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. sharp. Yes, ma'am. One lady says, I would like Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So I establish what works for them, and then I fall into suit. And then that means set an alarm. That means keep my notebook on my desk, looking at it every day. We'll talk about that in a minute. So that's what I do when I start. And I have to nail all that down before I start. Y'all, it saves you so much time in the end, and so much grief if you start wondering if somebody quit. Because, see, when I've written down their goal and then they ghost me, I can text them now and say, oh, did your goal change?
Oh my gosh.
Because, see, if your goal changed, then I'm free. I'm off the hook. And it does so much to you mentally.
Yeah.
You're not going to beat yourself up thinking you dropped the ball, or why are they ghosting you? Do you see how that all plays in? That's why I do what I do. And after 20-something years, you learn to do what works. And it's a lot in the beginning. Matter of fact, I'm just going to say this. Julie Park looked at me one day and she said, what? You do all of that? And I said, oh, yes, ma'am, I do. And she goes, Brenda, I've sold over 300 boxes. I have no idea where they went. That grieved my heart. And there's a lot of people that have done that.
Yeah.
This was in the beginning when I came in, and I understood, where's the follow-up here? Nobody's doing follow-up. Wait a minute. Where's the training? And that's why I started doing trainings back in July, when I started in April in 24. I started doing my own trainings, because your people need to be trained. You people need to be trained. You need to know what to do next, and your new person needs to know what to do. Otherwise, they're going to quit, because it's not going to work for them. That is why training is so important, Miss Linda. Thank you so much for doing this. Okay. Any questions so far?
Please, you guys, you have questions? I do have the form for you guys. I will make sure each one of you get the form, okay? If you don't have the form.
Okay. All right.
Looks
So
like I'll
the
be listening to that.
So the next question is, what is your desired outcome in order of importance? See, I need to know what they want. This tells me where they are mentally. And even though I asked them what do they want to happen, we really haven't gotten there yet totally, but these next questions. So I say, I'm going to read them off. So in number of importance, you tell me what's your number one, what's your number two. Is it weight loss, increased energy, reduced inflammation and joint pain, better sleep, brain fog, eliminate hot flashes and night sweats? Those are some of the popular ones. And they begin to tell me, well, I know I need to lose some weight, but man, if I could sleep, if I could just sleep. Okay, well, that's probably one of their weight loss problems. Immediately, cortisol, you're not sleeping, cortisol builds up. Okay. So that right there tells me what products I'm filing in the back of my mind that I'll bring forward at a later time. Right now, we're just going to get started on drops, maybe, unless they've bought a bundle, and then we'll talk about that. So does that make sense? So get those down. Sometimes people only give me two. That's fine. They don't have other issues, whatever. They just have those two. Okay. This is important for you to know. You're not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. We don't need to know what the medication is, but are you taking medication? And what is that for? That's a red flag. So what I do there, and remember, you can flip this sheet over on the back and you can journal. That's what I do. So what I do, are you taking medication? And some people, they were adding an awful lot of medication. 4 and 5 different medications. There you go. Thank you. All right. So look at that. But we're just going to do a yes or no. And what is that for? Sometimes, most of the time, it's high blood pressure and it's sleep medication. That's what a lot of the medication is. Okay. Do you have sensitive absorption? I get the deer in their headlights look whenever I ask this question. I have to say, well, okay, let me ask you this. If at 8 o'clock at night you had a brownie, you're up all night partying. Because chocolate is what's in a brownie, and chocolate has a natural form of caffeine. And there are some people so sensitive to caffeine, natural, that they can't even eat a brownie at 8 o'clock. Amy Rickman cannot have a brownie or a chocolate dessert at 8 o'clock at night. She's up all night. I'm not like that. I could drink a cup of coffee at 9 o'clock and go to sleep at 10. That doesn't bother me. But some people are so sensitive. Okay, here's why that question's important. Because in bottle 2, there's the methylated form of B12. There's only 1 milligram of green tea extract in that bottle. But some people are so sensitive that may keep them up. You need to know that.
Mhm.
And my instructions to my bottles, we're going to take both bottles 3 times a day. You just need to figure out how to get bottle 2 in before 3 o'clock.
Mhm.
You know why? Because I need them to feel good while they're losing weight. And bottle 2 will assure me of that. It'll also help shut down that cortisol production, which a lot of people deal with because we live in a fallen world. So I need for bottle 2 to be in their body by 3 o'clock. If it's anybody else, take it at 5 o'clock. Sometimes I take mine at 7 o'clock. That doesn't bother me. PM. It just doesn't bother me. But I am sensitive to other people. So we have to be respectful and know where they are. Okay. So that's why that question's there. Do you exercise 3 times a week? I don't need you to go to the gym and get a membership and be a gym rat. I don't need you to race around the track at your local school. I need you to walk 20 minutes 3 times a week. Can you do that? Your body has got to move. We've got to move things through your body. Okay, here's my next one. Do you move waste through your body daily? Let me tell you about that one. I didn't always know how to talk about potty habits, but let me tell you something. There's a potty in every house, and there's a potty in every building in America. There's a reason for that. We have got to eliminate waste on a daily basis. If you do not eliminate waste on a daily basis, our body reabsorbs that as toxins. No wonder we feel bad. No wonder colon cancer is the #1 killer. And it's from not eliminating waste. So I need to know, does your body lean more towards constipation issues, or are you more towards the irritable bowel syndrome where you go to the bathroom multiple times a day? So either way, that also tells me when I'm going to bring in Restorex and when I'm going to bring in probiotic. I'm a big believer in probiotic. Everybody breathing air needs probiotics. Everybody. That's my belief. Okay. So that is what tells me that. It tells me how their body works. Okay. Next box gives me the product regimen. Maybe they got, the bundle, the trifecta with the drops, the Advantage, and the Sugar Stop. So I note that. So now I know what products they're on because I'm going to set up a regimen for them and teach them how to take their products and work it into their day. And many times I have to say, walk me through your day. What time do you get up? What time do you go to bed? What do you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Do you drink enough water? Do you move waste through your body? Those are all fundamental questions I ask. Okay. This next box, as much as I try, I say, I only need a yes or no while we do this. And then we're going to circle back around. But this is difficult to keep people just giving you a yes or no. I mean, it is grueling sometimes. And I don't want to embarrass people, but I just say, I just need a yes or no. I just need a yes or no, because this could go on all day. This could take an hour if you let people go down bunny trails. So, do you eat breakfast daily? Yes or no? Do you drink 10 to 12 cups of water? Yes or no? See, all these questions are telling me. All right, so say I've asked all these questions. Now I'm going to go back to whichever one they've circled, and I'll say, you do not eat breakfast. When do you eat? Did you know breakfast is called breakfast because it breaks the fast that your body's been in all night long, and we have to jumpstart your metabolism. Otherwise, your metabolism doesn't get fired up until later in the afternoon. You're behind the 8 ball all day. It also tells me how much we're going to have to talk about protein. And the more we age, the more important it is for us to up the protein. I'm big on high protein, low carb, and a substantial amount of fat. Fat doesn't make you fat. Carbohydrates make you fat. So we talk about that in a minute. Water, 10 to 12 cups of water. That's just a gauge. The right amount for your body is half of your body weight in ounces of water throughout the day. Sometimes you might have to have chugging sessions, but don't do that at 7 o'clock at night because you won't like me. Okay. Do you eat on the go often? See, these next questions tell me about their lifestyle. Do you eat on the go often? Oh my gosh, that tells me that's a mommy running this kid to soccer, that kid to band, that kid to violin lessons. And oh my gosh, now she's grabbing food and grabbing things. She only has a choice of going through drive-thrus. So that right there tells me that. Do you skip meals frequently? That right there tells me whether a person's body's in starvation mode. If you tell me you only eat 1 meal a day and it's at night, that's how sumo wrestlers eat.
What?
Did you know that? That's real.
Don't know.
Sumo wrestlers eat 1 meal a day, their largest meal. They eat it at night and then they go to bed. Okay, you cannot do that. So we have to feed your body throughout. When you do that, your body's in starvation mode. It'll hang on to every bite you put in your mouth. So that's what that tells me. Do you get the munchies at night? If you get the munchies at night, you did not have a substantial amount of protein, fat. Your macros are out of balance if you get the munchies at night. Do you crave sugars and sweets? That's a carbohydrate addict. Do you crave carbohydrates? That's a sure sign. Do you fight fatigue all day? You're not getting enough protein. Do you drink coffee, tea, or soda? Bingo, that tells me, remember our question back over here, do you have sensitive absorption? If they drink coffee or tea or Cokes, I circle which one they tell me. And then sometimes we have to talk about their creamer that they put in that coffee, because even half and half, and certainly Coffee Mate will sabotage a weight loss program, because Coffee Mate has chemicals that causes a chemical reaction in our bodies. So that's a flag right there. You got to know that half and half still has sugar in it. Okay.
Brenda, we're
Yes.
going to have you back.
Okay.
We're at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, or we're past the hour.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. This is amazing. Oh my gosh, would you come back?
I will.
Oh, good. Oh my gosh. We have so much. I know that everybody's got questions, but we're at the hour, and
Jennifer says, can we keep going? I mean, if you need to drop off, drop off. I mean, or if you just got to go, that's it. I'm fine. But
are you guys good?
Yes.
Can we go 10 more minutes?
All right. All
10
right,
more
guys.
minutes, we're done. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So that's what tells me right there. Okay, we're going to bring in we're going to bring in Sugar Stop. We're going to bring in, the drops. We're going to tell them to take the drops before they're going to eat a heavy meal, or take another shot of drops before they're going to eat a dessert. Coffee, tea, Cokes. Let me tell you something about even flavored water that has 000. Anything carbonated keeps fat cells plumped up. You got to know that. I don't care what kind of carbonation it is. Carbonated drinks keep fat cells plumped up. Do you get a mid-afternoon low? That's because your insulin, your sugar dropped. That dropped. You need something. Tired in the early evening, dieted on and off. That means you're a roller coaster. Eat for comfort. There's some stress there. There's the flag for stress. Make a note. Do you feel too full after meals? This is one I like to talk about. Did you know that it takes 20 minutes for our brain to register that we're full? I don't know about y'all, but I used to could do a lot of damage in 20 minutes. That's a science fact. It takes 20 minutes for our brain to register that our stomach's full. That's what happens there. Do you wake up hungry? If you wake up hungry, you ate something late at night. It'll happen every time. So why did you eat something at night, and what was it? See, because later on, I'm going to offer some healthy suggestions for late night snacks that are not sugar. See, that's going to help me coach them. Okay. Are you familiar with the food categories? Some people don't know what carbs, proteins, and fats are, which is why I teach my nutritional workshop. Teaching people, it's designed specifically to take the confusion out of carbohydrates. People will tell me beans are protein every time, and they are high in carbohydrates. They will tell me they eat yogurt for protein, not understanding that not even a cup of yogurt is 46 grams of carbohydrates. And so that tells me a lot about where they are, where their thinking is, where their beliefs are. They're just not educated. Okay. Do you get 7.5 hours of sleep at night? Okay, this right here points back to the cortisol level. If we do not get into the deep realm sleep, and see right here, I'm going to bring in Renew, because if we don't get into deep realm sleep, that cycle happens between 12 and 2 o'clock in the morning. If we don't go into that, that is when our body repairs all the damage that we've done to it during the day. And if we don't get there, we wake up in the morning and our body's behind the 8 ball all day, and it never catches up, which leads to a cortisol buildup. Favorite foods? When I was in Texas, most of it was chips and salsa, and queso. And then my question, is there anything else I need to know? Is there anything else that you need to tell me that I can better help you reach your goal, is what that question's about. So that's my follow-up sheet. It opens up a whole world. I track their progress. I tweak things. Sometimes we have to up protein. I coach people, you need a minimum of 80 grams of protein. Sometimes people's eyes roll back in their head because that's a lot of protein. I have to teach people to log their food so that we can find the culprit. I have to teach them, but this is the sheet that I use. It goes in a notebook, and it's a 3-ring binder, and it is 1 through 31 tabs. And so today is the 8th. And if like I'm coaching a girl on Tuesday is her follow-up. So on the 10th, I will open this notebook because it'll be March the 10th. And whoever's sheet is in that day, that's who I follow up with.
There
So
you
that's
go.
how I do that.
That's amazing. So, oh, that's amazing.
Somebody has a question here, Sheila.
Do we have questions?
What are some of the other things that people sometimes tell you you need to know to help them? Well, I've heard this. Well, I have to have that 2 glasses of wine at night. Well, no, I didn't know that. But since you think you have to have that, first of all, number one, my mind goes, why do you think you need to have 2 glasses of wine at night? What's going on? Is it a habit? Are you escaping from something? I mean, I'm not against alcohol. You can drink all the alcohol you want. I don't drink. I don't put any of that in my body, but that will tell me, okay. And so sometimes people, they say they're an 8 and they want to lose weight, but they will not give up their alcohol. Let me tell you something. Alcohol is pure carbohydrates. You might as well be drinking a cup of sugar because your body treats it the same. And so I used to walk down to Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg, Texas is the wine capital of Texas. And I could tell you who drank wine by looking at a woman's stomach. I mean, you can't deny it. That's where it shows up. And so, do you really want to lose weight? Do you really want to get results? And, if somebody says, I'm going to have my wine, and I just say, okay, then you just need to pull that other bottle too out and make sure you take a full dropper full before you have that glass of wine.
Oh, okay. Hey, you guys, I am going to get Brenda to come back. This has been phenomenal. I think you agree, right? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. The nutritional seminar, I think that we could use that as well one of these times.
I
So
have got to figure out how to do a Zoom and do my nutrition workshop. Y'all, it is so fun to watch people. I have real food replicas that look so real. You just want to get a knife and fork and cut into them. But I teach people about portion sizes and quantity. See, that's where people get in trouble with servings. They're not paying attention to the quantity and what a serving actually is. So I teach what carbs are, what simple carbs, what complex carbs are. We just take the confusion out of it. And, just because there's food in our approved food list, I don't eat everything on there. Some things are not for me. And so I'm gonna give you an example. I have a couple here in the Springs, and he started on Advantage, and he came to me 2 months later and he said, Brenda, I've gained 6 pounds on Advantage. My brain is zinging. I'm like, there is no way. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, what am I going to do? What do I say? And I just looked at him and said, I don't even know what to say, because it doesn't do that. It's a hip and waist reducer. So we're over at their house a couple of weeks later, and they cook meals and sell them out their store. They have a store. They're in 29 natural grocers. They're all organic. There's gluten-free certified. All this, their food's amazing. And a lot of people here in Colorado Springs go buy their food. So they served us this beautiful chicken dish on a bed of quinoa. And he says, Now, I know what quinoa is. I quit eating quinoa 8 years ago. I know what it is. I know how great it is. I know it's a grain. And he says, we got really serious about the eating plan, the approved food list, and we switched out white rice for quinoa. And I said, Donna, go get that bag of quinoa. She went to the pantry, pulled it out, put it on the table. I just turned it around and I shoved it over there in front of him. And I said, read that label there and tell me how many carbohydrates in a quarter of a cup of quinoa. Well, he about fell out of his chair. 30 grams of carbohydrates in a quarter of a cup. That's 1/4 of a cup. And I said, Ron, look at your plate. Did you just eat a quarter of a cup? He leaned back and he said, oh my God, Brenda, we've been eating quinoa every night. Bingo. There's your culprit. A week later, we're having a Super Saturday, and he says, Brenda, I've already lost 4 pounds. And I said, I guess you have. Guess what? Quinoa's on that list. Sweet potatoes are on that list. But let me tell you something. If weight loss is your goal, don't you be eating sweet potatoes. Do you know what a serving of a sweet potato is? If you decided to eat one, a quarter of a sweet potato. Y'all, for me, that's not even worth it.
That's not much.
Okay, so those are what I have to do. I have to find the culprit. We have to figure out, number one, identify what your goal is. Number two, are you ready to do this? Give me 90 days. Will you please stop eating dairy and sugar? Cheese is the number one inflammatory contributor, so let's put that down. We'll introduce some things to your diet later, but give me 90 days and let's do this. And it works. Does that help?
Oh my gosh, you're amazing. You guys, you want to give Brenda some love? You guys want her back?
How long would it take you to do
Yeah.
that? How long would it take you to do that
Definitely, we want her
training?
back.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you,
question?
Brenda.
Do what,
Thank
Tom?
If we were going to record a Zoom of you doing just that training, how long would it take?
It would take an hour.
Okay. Well, we
maybe
can,
not an hour, because I would not have, like the last training I did, y'all, I had a double row of people, chairs in my dining room. I had people all around. I probably had 17 people. There were so many people that came to my nutrition workshop because everybody wants to learn.
Yeah.
The food is all in the middle, and then I have them hands-on. They get a big worksheet. I don't have a worksheet with me. It's a big double worksheet with all the foods, and then on the back of it, we start plating your food. We identify how many calories is right for you. And by the way, while we're doing that, nobody should ever have less than 1,200 calories a day. Women, men, you should never have less than 1,500 calories. I don't care what anybody says. That is not healthy. Do not do that. I hear crazy diets all the time. So that's not what we are. We're implementing a healthy lifestyle. We all want quality life. We do not want to diet. We don't diet, but we need to be educated about what food does to our bodies. And so learning about your portions. So what I do, I have easels, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, and I have people sort the food, and then I have to go fix it. And then it is so fun to watch what people thought. You should see what all they put in protein. And
Right.
half of it I have to put over here back where the carbohydrates are. And they're like, what? And I'm like, they have both, but they have more of this, which is going to do damage to your body.
Wow.
All right, we need to do this. Okay,
Absolutely.
I'll figure
we
out.
will
how-
schedule that.
Thank you.
We'll get it scheduled.
Y'all might have to be my guinea pigs. And
well,
we'll-
if we get it right, we record it, then you'll have it forever.
Tom,
Yeah.
I would so love that. I would. And I may have to just do it where I don't have a bunch of people, maybe just 2 people, because people start to ask questions and they start chattering, and I have a recording, but it was not anything I want to share because it's so you couldn't hear me because of all the people talking, and they're having a blast, discovering, oh my gosh, look at this corn, and look at this, and look at this broccoli, and they're all into all that. And it's amazing what all we can have, but we have to pay attention to the servings and the quantities.
You could maybe have some pictures of good examples, bad examples, and we could just move through it that way. And then
Okay.
we wouldn't have to take the time for people to make up the dishes because you've seen them enough that
Yeah.
you know what they do. And you can say,
Yeah.
this is what people think are proteins and they're not.
Yeah.
And we could
And
get to it
then-
in an hour, probably pretty good.
And then we have I have plates, white plates, and I have people plate the food with this many carbohydrates, this much protein, this many fats. Proteins, fats, and carbs. Those are your macros. That's what our body needs. And so I have them plate the food and they're shocked at how much food. And number one thing they say, I can't eat that much food. I know, but that's how much food you could have if you ate the right food. And that's the whole
Oh,
Well, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
me too. I don't want to
Super
miss
fun.
it.
We'll get it scheduled. We will.
Okay, yay.
Thank
you,
Hey.
Thank you so much for letting me talk.
Brenda, thank you so much for being here with us.
Yes.
Absolutely fabulous.
All right. Y'all be blessed. I love you. See you on the IPA tomorrow. I'm
See you
moderating.
tomorrow.
See you on the IPA. Thanks,
Okay.
Brenda.
Bye,
Thanks
y'all.
y'all for being
Bye.
here.
Okay.
Love you. Thank